Today is May the 26th, 2025. This is Carmen bringing you your daily Bloodborne Remaster update. We don't have any news on a Bloodborne Remaster today, but we do have some news on Elden Ring Night Rain. So Fextra Life, or some people from Fextra Life, got to play what I'm going to assume is probably the final build of Night Rain. I can't imagine they put together a separate build specifically for this when we're this close to launch. So they got to play pretty much the final build of Night Rain. They showed off some new things, all of which look pretty cool. A few things to go over here is we saw a new Night Lord. We saw Executor, his gameplay in detail. It is a he, by the way. It is, in fact, a he. I think a lot of people thought it was a woman because for some reason he's packing insane cake. But, yeah, it is a dude. So, yeah. And then we got to see a couple of reskinned bosses from older games in it. And we also got to see one of the new Night Lords. So let's go over Executor first. Executor's gameplay is very, very cool. I think he gets like a buff when he heals from status effects or something like that. I just saw it in passing. I didn't look too closely at it. But the main things that are really interesting are the gameplay stuff. So one of which is the Cursed Sword. He can draw out a Cursed Katana that allows him to parry and deflect attacks just like Sekiro. When I say just like Sekiro, I mean Sekiro animations and sounds and everything. And he can counter as well by making the weapon, glow and turn gold. And then do a counterattack. Looks very, very cool when it happens. So looks dope. Very, very cool ability. This is going to be like the top tier, I'm pretty sure. I can't imagine it's going to be anything better than this. The ability to just like parry and deflect everything if you're good enough. Yeah, nothing's going to be better than this. And then for his ultimate, as we've seen before, it is a big aspect of the Crucible transformation, where he turns into this giant beast and just gets to attack and go crazy for a little while. Looks very, very dope, of course. But we saw this before. There's not really any new information for this. But yeah, Executor looks awesome. There's a lot to Executor from the looks of it, especially with the deflecting. Like I said, I can't imagine anything is going to be better than the deflecting. Sure, Wilder's grapple hook is very versatile, and Duchess, her ability to rewind damage, very, very good. Everybody's got strong abilities, but man, deflecting just anything and countering, unless it's limited. If it's limited, then sure, then it may not be super broken. But if it is just like switch over to the weapon and just deflect everything as long as you're good enough, wow, that's busted. So yeah, very cool. As far as some of the new the reskin bosses that we saw, there were two of them in the gameplay that we hadn't seen before in the game. One of them was Dancer of the Boreal Valley. Dancer is back in Night Rain with a couple of new effects. It's just more Elden Ring-like effects instead of the DS3 ones. So basically her attacks just have color, unlike in Dark Souls 3 where even the fire was gray somehow. Try and figure that out. Basically her attacks just have color now. But yeah, looks cool. Dancer was a boss I was always just kind of okay with, so it's neat to see her back, I guess. The one that really surprised me though was we got to see the Smelter Demon. The Smelter Demon is back in Night Rain. He looks awesome. A big issue with Dark Souls 2, as much as I love that game, is that because it's not on the same engine, the particle effects are kind of off on a lot of the effects for the attacks. So getting to see Smelter Demon, back in a new game with better particles, it looks so good. It's literally the same boss, but his particles are so much better. Excuse me. It's very good to see Smelter Demon. I'm glad to see he's found work in the big 2025. He looks awesome. Out of all of the reskin bosses so far, I'm actually most excited for Smelter Demon. Not really Nameless King as much, but I'm very, very excited for Smelter Demon now. That looks awesome. I'm glad to see him back. Seeing Smelter Demon makes me wonder just how many reskin bosses there are in this gameplay, or in this game. So yeah, pretty cool. And then as for the new one, we got to see, the name was like Caligo or something. This is the Fisher in the Fog Night Lord that you can choose from the selection. And we've only seen 7 of the 8. I'm going to assume the 8th Night Lord and the 8th Night Farer are locked until you finish all the rest of them or something, because we haven't seen all of them. We did get to see a brief description of some of them, but I didn't get screenshots of them. But Caligo is a big ice dragon, very unique looking. I'm going to say I don't expect this to be like Midir or Bear level, or Bale level, but I could see this being like Calamite level or something like that. But it looks very, very good. We'll have to see how it goes, how it plays solo. In an interview, the directors of Night Rain recently said that it is it's perfectly playable offline and solo, and then it's got its 3-player mode as well. But there's no 2-player mode. They're thinking about adding it in post, but there's no 2-player mode. It's 1-player and 3-player. So we'll see how some of these bosses go solo. You can't really get a judge, a proper judge on how you know, how good a boss's moveset is when it's like AI is broken trying to fight 3 people at once. So we'll see how good like Caligo or Tricephalus or these bosses look when it's a 1v1. So we'll see. Anyways, I'll go ahead and get out of here. Big news for Night Rain, though. I recorded the Expedition 33 review today, by the way. I'll get it out sometime. Sometime this week. We'll see. I just got to make a thumbnail and get around to titling and stuff like that. I'll make a thumbnail sometime and get it out. But yeah, it's more or less just a yap session. It's just like a 30 or 40 minute yap session. Like it was for my Spider-Man 2 review. So yeah. Anyways, I'm out of here. No news on a Bloodborne Remaster today, but big news for Night Rain. That's been your daily Bloodborne Remaster update for May the 26th, 2025. I think it's 26th.